Conversations with Malik podcast show, coming to you from the Empire State, New York City. I'm glad to have you, and thank you to all who are listening and watching this show. This podcast is about the stories of transformation of regular people during the basic struggle and pain of everyday life. Everyone has a testimony. We all have survived the darkness. Now let's talk about how we got to the light so that we can help our brothers and sisters who still haven't overcome their demons. But guess what? We all have devils on different levels. So through conversations, we use the tools of insight to light the path of hope. Let's have a chat and stop running from our issues. If we live through it, then talking about it probably won't kill us. That's what we're doing. Talking, crying, laughing, joking, looking inward so that we can grow outward is the theme of the show. The caterpillar transforming into the butterfly is the goal and purpose of this podcast. When you talk about you, I learn about me. Iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel, so that we can cut through the fog of despair into the hope of today. Welcome to Conversations with Malik. Before we start today's show, don't forget to follow us and check us out on our website, convoswithmalik.com, convoswithmalik.com. There you will find all our social media links, videos, past shows, everything you need to find out about us is on the website. We got book links to books that I've read, all of our social media, everything is there. Please check us out. And let me tell you something, when I read what this show is about, it always humbles me and gives me chills. Because, we're not just here just talking about anything, but there's a purpose. And I believe that, the purpose of my life is to do things like this. And today, we have with us, and it's amazing because when I was looking through people to interview, and I'm getting all the questionnaires back, I wanted to kind of have some diversity. I wanted to, like, my first couple of months of interviews, I wanted to kind of touch on all the different spectrums of transformation. And so, with us today, I got my man Skippy Dynamite.
What's going on, guys?
He's in the house, and listen, this guy is serious. First of all, I've seen you in the gym. You're one of the reasons why I didn't go over to Jujitsu.
Oh, come on, man.
And I watched my man G, and I said, listen, G, do your thing. Good luck, G. He's always like, come on over.
I'm friendly, I swear, I'm not a monster.
But listen, thanks for coming on the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here. I'm excited. This is excellent. That was an awesome introduction. That's exactly what it is. Conversation is just so crucial. And the beautiful thing about it is conversation comes in many different forms. And I'd say Jiu-Jitsu is kind of my tool of conversation. That's how I love to converse. That's how I express myself. It doesn't seem tedious to me. It's just, it flowed. Like when you see me teaching it or practicing it, it's just evident what my personality is like. And just have fun. I laugh. I love it.
Right. And with us also, we got one of my dear friends, my man G, who is one of your students. What's up, G? How you doing?
I'm doing extremely well. And, like Skippy said, like it is a way that we express ourselves. It's martial art. We all express ourselves in our own way. Like we're individuals, and there are basic fundamentals as to how we converse with each other, but how we actually express ourselves, put those pieces together. You learn a lot about a person based on the way that they express themselves, either through, tangible art, audio art, martial art, whatever it may be. Right. It's just another form of creativity.
Nice. So you are a 2 times Pan-American no-gi champion.
That's correct.
Multiple-time international Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu medalist, top USC coach, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Black belt, third degree Taekwondo black belt. You've got 10 years of wrestling, folk style, and some freestyle experience, and 7 years of teaching and coaching experience. You're a bad dude. You're a bad dude.
It's crazy just as I was kind of thinking about it, right? Like, wow, like it doesn't even feel that long. Like all that time, this training and really dedicating myself to my craft, it feels like it happened in the snap of a finger. I'm just humbled. I just love doing my thing. People, wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. I just love doing it, man.
That is
But
amazing.
it is just amazing to hear. It's just, I wouldn't have it any other way. And it's crazy to think about where I started to getting to that point. Is definitely wasn't that easy. I really can't believe the way I used to think and the way I think now.
So the process of all that you went through and all your accomplishments, the
Yes.
process changed you.
Absolutely.
And it changed the way you think as a result of going through the process. So it's funny because I talk about that, and part of my show is I give, if you go on my website, comboswithmalik.com, everybody that's listening, I give talks where I talk about the process is what changes the thought patterns.
Absolutely.
It's not, oh, I wanna be something, or I wanna start thinking different, and why do I think the way I think? No, it's through action that the thoughts are changed. We don't change our thinking, and then as a result of changing our thinking, our actions change. It doesn't work like that.
Nope.
And so that's why so many people miss it. So let's go through your story. We're gonna go back,
Way back.
right? And then we're gonna bring us up so we can give people an idea of where you come from. Let's set the stage because all of that is important, to who and what you are. So you grew up in Fishkill, man. What was that like?
Fishkill. Wow.
Fishkill.
That brings
That's
me
up
back
there.
to some good memories. Fishkill. My first official home. Well, I was born in Poughkeepsie, New York. A young age. That's where I lived with my mom for a very brief, short time. Actually, to the age when I was literally made my first year of life. And I didn't live with my mom or father. They were together, but then separated. And the people that took me in, and I kind of see as my quote-unquote mom and dad / grandparents, they had to take me under their wing because my mom was in a place back at that time. She's in a wonderful place now. God bless her, I love her so much. But she was really struggling. She was troubled.
Okay.
So.
And I see that your last name is Mukenheim.
Yes.
So you.
I'm an eclectic mix. Almost like I love dogs, so I'm like kind of a mutt, and I hold to that proudly.
Okay.
So I'm a Puerto Rican, German, and African American mix.
Nice.
And I was actually talking to my mom before we started the show, like, Mom, what am I? She's like, you know what? I think there's some other things in there. We gotta go on Ancestry and figure it out. Because we gotta fact check. We gotta make sure when you're on the show, you're talking right.
Because listen, when somebody sends over something, Todd Mukenheim, I know who his trainer was. But then when the questionnaire came over and I'm looking at the last name, I said, well, maybe I'm thinking about somebody different.
I get that a lot. It's like, I was looking for this guy, blonde hair. Like, nope, Todd's right here.
Right. So you're going through some personal things. Your mom and dad, they're not together. They're struggling with their own personal battles.
Correct.
Would you care to share what those were? Or?
Funny enough, I never really inquired too much because I was so young when I made that transition. I was still just a baby.
Right.
My dad, mom, I don't know why they separated. To this day, I don't really know. But my dad lived in the city. My mom lived in Poughkeepsie. I was with my mom, and she was jumping from friends to friends' house. Was on the street and just was struggling. She had trouble with alcohol, things of that nature.
Okay.
And one day, my grandparents. They're my legal guardians. They're not blood related, but I don't believe loyalty in this family is not always blood. It's just close. I'm forever indebted to love those people very much.
So who were they exactly?
They were Richard Dean and Patricia Townsend, two of the most amazing people.
And they were just people, they're not really your grandparents, but they're just people
Exactly.
who knew you.
And fun fact, they raised my mom and my uncles. They took them. They adopted all three.
Wow. So your mother's adopted parents raised you. Okay, so she was struggling, alcoholism. Okay, so they took you in. So you're living with them, and then let's go.
And then from there, that's when kind of the adventures in fish scale started. Raising there, I was this very chunky, happy baby with the biggest head, watermelon size head. Oh yeah, I was chunky. And we'll get more into the fitness later on, but yeah, I was a chunky baby, big head, and the one thing that definitely stood out early on, my grandparents said, is this boy can eat. She has a very distinct memory of me. One day we were at home, and it was feeding time, and there was this bananas. That was one of my favorite fruits beginning on, and
But how old were you at this
I believe I was 3 years old at the time.
Okay.
And I just had an insatiable appetite. So she had the bananas there, and I just kept on eating them and eating them and eating them. And it got to a point where I ate so many that I threw up. And she's like, goodness. And the reason that is when I was early on with my mom, since we were on the street, I didn't get food readily. So I always had, okay, I need to eat this when I can eat it now. I need to eat as much as I can.
And at that age, you knew, while there's food, I need to get as much as I can because I don't know when the next time I'm going to eat.
Yes. And over the course of time, it took some time. I still eat fast, but I'm more controlled. But my grandparents taught me that you do have food. Like, you have a warm home. You're not going to be jumping from place to place. Like, we always have food on the table. They always make sure I'm fed. Whenever I go home to them, like, you got to eat. You want to eat? Come on, keep eating it. And provide food. And it does.
So around what age were you when they took you in permanently?
Like I said, when I was 1 year old. Especially, I had a year of life with my mom.
Okay.
Who was struggling, and then they took me in, and basically my life from about 1 year old to about 20, I spent with them.
Gotcha.
They raised me.
So let's go up to your teenage years.
Yes,
What
yes.
your teenage years like? You live in the Fishkill, you still upstate with all of the snow, or where you live?
My teenage years. My teenage years, still upstate. We moved from Fishkill to a town called Hopewell Junction, which was not too far off. It's more of the East Fishkill area. And my early teenage years were tough. I had the first martial art that I practiced. So early on, just to backtrack, I started Taekwondo. That was my first martial art. That was my first introduction. I started that when I was 6 years old and held to that to about my sophomore year in high school. Now fast forward, I was doing that, but it set the standard, but it didn't really completely. Like, I was definitely, for anybody that really knows me closely, I definitely wasn't the happy, bouncy individual that I always was. I was heavier set. I wasn't obese, but I was definitely a heavier set kid, and I was just very quiet and very angry with myself. I always kind of held to things. Like, I wasn't happy with the way I looked. I let other people's opinions really bind on me. It's definitely a struggle in my early teens.
Was that some of that due to, was some of it connected to maybe not having your parents there and then not liking how you look? What contributed
I think
to
the
that
main
anger?
thing is, like, the beautiful thing is my parents, even though they were separated, they were always there for me.
Okay.
So I can never, I'm forever indebted with that. They,
Right.
even their differences, when they happened to be at a family occasion or time, they were very cordial
Okay.
and always supported me throughout. I think the main thing for me was my physical fitness and my coordination. I could not play a sport to save my life.
Really?
Yes, believe it. Yeah, oh yeah, you heard
No
that right.
football, no baseball, no basketball.
If it involves dribbling with your feet or your hands and stuff,
So when they chose you, it was like double dribble.
I could not do it. I tried, but it just didn't connect.
But Taekwondo.
Taekwondo started to help set the standard for me,
Gotcha.
and I'll be forever indebted to that art form.
So did you find comfort in that at an early age?
I feel it set the building blocks. I didn't feel quite comfortable in my own skin yet, but it started to help me feel more confident. Like,
Okay.
starting to learn how to defend myself, started to embrace this thing called martial arts. It started to help me build in the direction that I would come to now.
Okay. So at what point did you really realize that you loved martial arts? What was the spark? What were your martial arts teachers like? How did they influence you?
My martial arts teacher's awesome. So we'll start with Taekwondo, of course. Taekwondo, I had a gentleman named Mr. Hawkins and Gerald Dunn. Now, this will be a good important thing. So, funny enough, there was a foreshadowing for Jiu-Jitsu. Now, we'll start with Gerald Dunn. He was the master of that academy for Taekwondo, and he really infected me with positivity. That was that first taste, because I was always a very angry, quiet kid. He just made me feel very comfortable.
How did he do that?
And the way he felt comfortable is he always felt so warm. He always like, hey, how you doing? Something so simple.
Genuine
Exactly.
concern
Genuine,
for him.
exactly. And just really involved himself in my learning. They're like, I see you. Like, I want to see you progress. I want you to feel welcome in my dojo. I want you to feel welcome in my academy. And that was very profound with me. That's that closest with him.
How were you doing in school?
In school, I'd say I did very well. Now, the one thing I always lacked on, and I still hate it to this day, mathematics. Oh, I hate math. I hate it. Connect the numbers.
I don't take it personally.
It's all good. It's okay. It just didn't. I guess it's just everybody learns differently. Math didn't connect with me. History, loved it. English, loved it. Science, was intrigued by it. But math is just, we didn't connect.
Did you have any wrestling like that at school, any martial arts stuff in school?
So, wrestling, that hits right to heart. So, I did Taekwondo from the age of 6 to about sophomore year, and when I got into the beginning, my grades in middle school, I would have started wrestling earlier, but my grades in middle school weren't as sharp. I had to work a little harder. Wrestling was introduced to me my freshman year in high school, and that was when I found, okay, like this gave me a path of like being more driven. I needed to find a sport, so I was determined. I found wrestling on my own. It was around wintertime, that's when wrestling season kicks off, and I was just like, you know what, I need to do something. I just want to try something different. I want to be involved, because I was just like, freshman year was just rough. Then I had some friends, but I just wanted to just get involved with community. So I just signed up for this thing wrestling. I'm like, well, what's that? So, funny fact, I love WWF. Well, it was WWF till the Wildlife Federation came down on them, so it's WWE now. I love that. So I kind of had that association in my head. Yeah, I'm gonna get in the ring. I'm gonna do this. Shout out to the pro wrestler over there. But man, talk about a reality check in the face. Wrestling was probably right next to jiu-jitsu, probably one of the hardest things that I ever took on.
Why?
The first practice is one of the most physically demanding and just overwhelming things. We were running, we were doing hill sprints, we were doing all these forward and backward rolls, and I'm just like wobbling. And I was about 235 pounds when I first started wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was heavier sets. So it was interesting moving my big frame around. I'm an advocate for teamwork, but when I play team sports, it's just, I don't know, I've kind of fell in the fray, like, let the other guys on the team take it. Wrestling forced me to kind of take responsibility for myself.
Wow.
So Todd, what was the dynamic on your team like?
So at that time, the team was pretty tough. Like, there wasn't a lot of newer guys on the team. I was one of the fresh faces, juniors and seniors. One of my friends, Chris Perry, back then he was the captain. He was already like a multiple time section champ, state finisher.
Wow.
They had a squad.
Wow.
But like, did they welcome you into the fold? Like, what was that like as far as, you know?
Yeah, battling those guys too. That must have been.
I didn't really. So it's definitely battle. They tested me in the beginning. They really pushed me. They really got me around, but I stayed with it. Of course, like nothing really along the lines of hazing or bullying, but it's like, yo, we're gonna push you and see what you're made of.
We're gonna make sure you.
But I earned their respect through working hard. It was more like, all right, let's see what this new kid's all about.
Do you think that might have, like, you know, been like one of the starting points for, you know, changing your outlook towards other people as well as yourself?
Absolutely. Seeing the hard work that these guys put in, and just one thing that was big for me was, so let me paint the picture here. So I wrestled through, and my first wrestling tournament ever. Upstate, we do like a novice tournament. So anybody that just first started wrestling, they all hop into that one.
Okay.
So I did that. So first competitive experience, ready? Ended in the snap of a finger. I remember shaking hands with this big, kind of strapping guy. I wrestled in the 215-pound weight class. And I just shook hands and boom, this dude just charged me. And I'm just looking up at the lights.
Wow.
And my nose is bleeding. And
Wow.
I was like, what in the world did I just get myself into? Needless to say, I got right back up again. He threw me down again, pinned me. No more than 45 seconds.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. And the cool thing, my team was there to support me. Like, I still had another match. I only got 2 matches that day. So if you don't know about like a wrestling tournaments are like a marathon. They can go on for hours.
Really?
So
Let's hurry up and wait.
Yeah, so somebody else wrestles and then you're sitting there and then it goes and then wow.
Exactly. So I remember feeling awful after my first match. And thank goodness my grandpa was there. My grandpa supported me through the majority of my endeavors. When it came to wrestling, he was always the one taking me to go there. So he was there for the tournament and he kept my head up because I was feeling down. I was like, wow, is this really for me? I just lost this match in 45 seconds. I'm cottonball stuff out my nose completely.
So in those moments, see, that's the moment. So in those moments, is this really for me? Can I do this? What pushes you forward to continue to go again? Because you're getting beat up, man. You're getting the crap beat out of you. So then that's what always amazes me with martial arts and wrestling is that you're not starting out, it's not like the kid who's nice and bald okay, even if you're not good,
Right.
you're not getting hurt. You might be getting your feelings hurt.
Physicality.
But with this you're getting your ass kicked.
But you're getting up.
That's the key. That was the key. If there's one thing I knew I wasn't blessed with talent. I wasn't blessed as the most coordinated kid. I was determined. I definitely remember after losing that first match, I sat in the bleachers for easily like a couple hours waiting for my next match. And like, you know what? I'm gonna take a second chance at this. I can't let the guys down. I want to do out their best, and whatever happens in this next match is what it is.
So you was doing it more for the team than
Do it for
necessarily
the team, do it
yourself.
for myself.
Okay.
I want to see what am I made of.
Okay.
And
Even though I'm losing.
even though I'm losing. And I ended up having that second match, and I won.
Okay.
I stuck it out. I came out strong. I came out aggressive. I won by a few points. I'm like, okay, we can do this.
Small little building blocks.
Now, what that led to is probably the toughest year of my life. So, this is, oh my gosh, my grandpa. So, this was good news. My grandpa was like, good news, buddy, you made the varsity. The bad news is you made the varsity. So, there wasn't anybody else at the 250-pound weight class. So, I kind of just put into the crucible by no fault of my own. And his coach was like, all right, you're the only 215er, so you're going to go on varsity. I'm like, okay, what could happen? Freshman chubby kid going against 6'3" seniors, just like looking like comic book superheroes, and me.
Oh goodness.
Oh boy.
Oh.
And it's
my
just
goodness.
pin after throw after slam. I just got beaten down left and right.
Wow.
That was a big test.
Test of what?
Test of my fortitude to just handle the pain and adversity. I've never in my life at that point did I go through something so hard and just so physical that it just, by all means, some people would just like, you know what, this is too much. I don't want to go through this.
But you know, like in jiu-jitsu, we have a saying, like there is no losing. You either win or you learn. So you were doing a lot of learning.
You better believe I was doing a lot of learning. I believe my first year wrestling, I won 2 matches and probably lost easily like a good 40 matches.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
You know what? See, and this is what's so amazing, and this is really what people just don't get, because the so-called, so we live in a society that glorifies the winners, right? And yeah, we're striving towards winning. But every commercial you turn on, or every time you turn on the TV, you see the winners. But you don't see every time they lost on the road to getting there.
Oh, they don't know that. Yeah.
And whether it's in business or whatever it is, when people come to talk to me, everybody wants to be on top, G. Everybody wants to be a winner. And my coach, I remember we had lost the championship game. This was youth football. And we in the bus and we crying. This is out at Opera. And we in the bus, we like, oh, yeah. We cried and we got blown out by this team called the Elm Jacks. And I remember Mr. Morant, he came in the bus. And he said, everybody stop crying. Enough is enough. He said, y'all want to be champions? And we're looking at him like, yeah, of course. I actually thought that was the dumbest thing anybody has ever asked me. And he said, you want to be champions? And we said, yeah. He said, first you got to learn how to lose. That lesson, and I'm telling you, I was at one of the darkest points in my life when it was like that saying just came back to me. And it kind of was like, yo, you're down right now, but it's okay. But you gotta learn the lessons from this. Like you said, what did you say again? It's not
there is no losing. You win or you learn.
There's no learning. That's it.
And you had to kind of look at it like that, because what you lost 40 times?
I lost 40 times.
You know how many people would have quit and never went back?
You learn how much you learn how much you're willing to do in order to get to the other side. Like you learn, they say like either, like some things you can learn, some things are within you. You learn what you actually have within you.
Right.
That like is willing to keep falling down and getting up.
And that's powerful. So we're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back with convos with Malik, and we're gonna get into more about learning how to lose, and then we're gonna get more into the story. We'll be right back. And we're here, my man Skippy Dynamite, and Dynamite.
That's right.
And so high school, we're getting close to the end of high school. You got some things going on. You got a big match coming up. Tell me about it.
So senior year in wrestling was a beautiful time. It's the end of the season. We're at the sectional tournament, aka the state qualifiers. Finals with my rival during the season. We had a very close match earlier on, literally separated by 2 points. So this was huge. This is it. Like wrestlers live and breathe and die for this time to qualify and just really leave and cement their legacy.
Wow.
So it was a battle, back and forth, went down to the wire. I remember particularly having about roughly 30 seconds left in the match and needed to get some points. He scored the only takedown. I had one escape point. I needed to get this, but he held me down. I could not get out in time. The buzzer went off and my high school wrestling career was over. He moved on to the state, and all that hard work just to get to that moment, it was taken away.
Wow.
And it was this outburst of emotion. Just not even anger, just kind of this, damn, it's over.
Yeah. Quick question though.
Yes.
You started in your freshman year, 215. What weight were you wrestling in your
Oh,
senior year?
my wrestling in senior year, I was at the 189-pound weight class.
Oh, so you lost a lot of weight.
So through wrestling, I lose 40 plus pounds.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. So the health benefits of it was tremendous for you.
Oh, there's no other workout like that. 100%.
Yeah, I see how yeah. So that's building your self-esteem. You gotta feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
You probably got your six-pack on and no six-pack? Yeah.
I look good. The six-pack came a little later.
Okay, so it's about like
two-pack. I was looking for me.
Okay, so you was looking good.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's important in high school. And so me and Kareem was talking about, right, Kareem, how, high school and football ends, you play your last game, and it's just like, it's over.
Yeah. Over. It's done.
Like, all of this stuff, all these years, all these practices, and
what now?
Ends just
What now?
like that. So now what now?
So I did some like club wrestling, but it just wasn't the same because I was a senior. It's like I don't really have anything to look forward to. So I was scoping out colleges, but I wasn't really feeling it. I wanted to wrestle, but I just not having that state championship on the resume made it difficult. Like, okay, you're a talented kid, but we have other state champions down here, and like your grades are good, but they're not superb. So I'm like, what is? So, funny enough, towards the end of my senior year, my friends, my brother included, we're talking about this thing called Jujitsu. And hilarious enough is, when I'm really talking and thinking about it, I met Jujitsu once before, but was very unaware. Back when I did Taekwondo, I remember I'm awkwardly wrestling around with my partner, and my Taekwondo teacher said, "Oh, this is Jujitsu." Like, what? So it comes back full circle. So I go to this, at the time, I went to this Taekwondo school. That's where my instructor, Mike Wacker, forever indebted to that man. He definitely changed my life. He was renting out of Taekwondo school. He made a deal with the instructor because he was just starting up. He's another rags to riches gentleman. He started out of his basement. His school was called Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu.
Wow.
The reason why, because his dad said, "You guys training in a black hole down here? What are you doing?"
Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu.
And also, he's a Raiders fan, so that's why he did it.
That's the black hole.
Oh my goodness. So,
goodness.
Yeah. So
he's old school. He's a Raiders fan.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Plunkett and all of them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I went there, and I was still trying to wrestle at the time. I met there with my assistant wrestling coach to get practice. He was good friends with Mike. And I was still quiet, and I felt a little more nervous, but I was quiet. I was like, what are these guys doing? They're doing it looks like wrestling, but they're lying on their backs.
So what's the difference?
So the difference between wrestling and jiu-jitsu, wrestling is they're both grappling arts, but the mission is different. For wrestling, I need to get my opponent down to the ground and pin him to his back for 3 seconds. Jiu-jitsu, there's a little bit more to jiu-jitsu. I want to get my opponent down, but I want to make them submit. Oh yes, that word, submit.
He's like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm not like, yeah. I'm more like, it's like, you know, the wrestling match ends when you hit your back. The jiu-jitsu match
begins.
The person on their back might actually have the advantage.
Mm-hmm. So the game changes. So I was just kind of observing this, and I remember Mike trying to invite me the first time. Like, "Hey man, you want to know?" Nah, I think I'm gonna wrestle. So I was like, "All right, dude. Anytime you're welcome to come on." And he's super welcoming. So I remember going the next time, and
yeah, they're always welcoming.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, that's how you always try to get me in.
Yep.
Yeah, man, just come on, man. Anytime, man.
I think we'll be there tomorrow morning. Just saying.
Be like, yeah, too nice, man. Something to it.
So I went in there, and it felt like the beginning of wrestling all over again. Because like, man, I'm a wrestler. I've been doing this for a while. I'm strong. But then I'm just getting called in these things called triangle chokes where they're wrapping me up. This Mike, I remember in particular, which really set me, caught me in this thing called an arm bar. Now, I was easily a good 190 pounds. He was a $150 soaking wet at that time. So I'm like, all right, how did this scrawny, lean dude just wrap me up and just take my arm? I was like, all right, there's definitely something to this. I'm in. And
gotcha.
just
Because he was smaller than you, but he got you.
he leveraged me. That's the key word, leverage.
Okay.
Where wrestling it's a game of leverage as well, but I'm used to going faster pace. It's very explosive. Jiu-jitsu is almost my man Bruce Lee, like Walter. It's more fluent. It's disguised. It's deceptive.
Oh.
It's like an ocean. That's perfect. And we use like sharks as a perfect metaphor of jiu-jitsu. It's like you go into the ocean, it looks very calm, but then when you go under, you don't know what you're gonna get.
You know, to build on that metaphor, it's like, you know, the lion is the king of the jungle, but the lion is just food to the shark in the ocean.
Perfect. Couldn't have said better myself.
I knew he was coming with a deep quote. I didn't This is me and Jamal be talking on the phone, and he just drops like 2 or 3 bombs on me, and then I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you later. I need to interject these bombs. But go ahead.
But it was just, and then that's like I was talking about earlier. Just seemed like I just went on this crazy ride. It's just So I was at a point, and it's funny. My club wrestling coach that wrestled son was like, "Todd, you don't know what you want to do. You want to do wrestling or do jiu-jitsu? But you need to pick one if you're going to be successful. You can't be this way or that way." I was like, "Okay." So slowly but surely, wrestling started to fade, but I just embraced a whole new arena. I was there training easily 2 to 3 times a day, almost every single day, because we just transitioned. So when I ended high school, I was going there kind of the weekends and weeknights, but by the summertime, I was dying. I was like, let's do this.
All right.
And it was it's just a beautiful ride. And this, from one point of just training every day, these guys are just so cool. And I always say this to this day, is besides the art being beautiful itself, it's the people that I've met through jiu-jitsu that definitely it kept me there.
The fellowship.
The fellowship, this training hard day in and day out. Now people
becomes like a family.
like a family. And people looking on the outside, y'all are trying to break each other and do all this stuff. And you're friends? Like, yeah, there's nothing more than warriors training hard together to bring us closer than anybody.
There's no more intimate. There's nothing more intimate than when you and the person that's across from you are, with no exaggeration, trying to kill each other.
Yep.
And then afterwards, shake hands and say, let's do that again. Like we're actually trying to kill each other.
Yes.
I think the techniques that we practice can end lives if necessary. It is a martial art.
Gotcha.
It's a fighting art. But like when you're in that sort of setting, when that's the aim, it's like we're meeting at the most basic human sort of element. Like, it's person and person, politics, race, religion, all of that. It doesn't matter. It's just like it's us and the mess.
Yeah.
Wow. That's powerful, and it builds a cohesion, and it builds a family, and it kind of cements bonds, and everybody wants to belong to something, and so you find this, and you kind of found home, and you kind of find that this is where I belong.
This is where I belong, and I took that. So I went from just kind of training to getting in every tournament that I could. I would compete at least 2 times a month, every month, for the beginning of my jiu-jitsu career, because my coach, Mike, my instructor, my professor, saw something and be like, dude, if you really take to this, you could be talented. Just listen to me, train your butt off, and let's do this thing. And I took heart to that. Every month, always doing something, always challenging myself.
So you was talking about how it took you 5 years, but it only takes people 10 years to get their black belt. So you really went. You must have been all in.
Yeah, and when we talk about like finding purpose, I think that was it. I'm like, I don't know. When I first started, I don't know where this jiu-jitsu thing's gonna go, but something's telling me I need to stay here. And I just lived and breathed on the mats. Funny enough, I've also slept on the mats. Oh yeah, I made it my home. I'd have my pillow, my blanket. Like I'm gonna knock out here. And I'm gonna train early in the morning. Let's do this.
Wow.
And just doing things like, wow, this is. I didn't think after high school I was gonna find anything else like wrestling ever again. I thought like, oh man, like maybe I'll get into college, maybe I won't. But finding jiu-jitsu like reignited a competitive fire and just. It was burning brightly, but then it turned into an inferno.
And so what does that do for you in your personal life? Does having that kind of spread to the other things that you do in your personal life?
What that did for me, that fire, it awakened me. It allowed me to really release myself. The person that I am today, jiu-jitsu finally it was a culmination of everything, but jiu-jitsu just kind of like, you know what? Boom, punched a fist right through the door to like, let it out, kid.
Because you came in here alive tonight, and you talking about how you was a quiet kid. I would have never thought that, because you came in like, yo, what's up? Hey, I heard you from out there.
That's why I'm dynamite, man. I try to infect people with positivity. Just explode. But let's do this thing.
So everybody has that dynamite.
Exactly. Oh yes.
They gotta find it.
Bingo. And
So when people come to you, when you get the Gerards
Mr. Gerard
of the world, right? My dear friend, I love this guy a lot, right? And I remember when he started coming there. I started coming to UFC. I came. Well, it was just one Sunday.
It was a Sunday. Like I want to say it was like August, September 2014.
Yeah, that's right. You started
It's like that was when I signed up.
Yeah.
It was like August. Like I called Malik. There's a gym on Jericho Turnpike. It's a UFC gym. I'm thinking about joining it. Can you come with me? Like, because I knew I was gonna go on my own.
Yeah, I was just going for the ride.
Yeah. And then Malik sees the facility. It's a beautiful facility, and Malik's like, I'm gonna join too. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think Stefano was the one that showed me around.
Yeah, Stefano was the one that signed you up. That's right.
That's a story for another time. But he's doing well right now.
Yeah, I hope he's doing good. I know he went through so much.
Yeah, but I went over there. I think Marcel was over there.
I believe so. Yeah.
And, I looked over and it was just like, not today. And I remember July of 2015, 11 months later, I bought my first gi.
Oh, I think I remember.
You remember that? You've seen that gi? It's a gorilla gi.
Oh, I remember.
I bought that gi, and then I took my first class in December of 2015.
Yeah, it took me some time to get in there. I just is he like, oh,
But he got there.
It took a while, but I eventually went over there, and I'll never forget that after taking that first class, the nice thing Todd said to me was just keep coming back, and there was something in my mind that Randy was just like, okay, I'm definitely in the right place. This is definitely somewhere that this is some place that I need to be. And despite the fact that I got my ass handed to me that first class, I knew I was coming to the second class. I knew I was coming to the third class. And I made a deal with myself that okay, for the next 6 months, you're going to lose a lot. But that's fine. You're supposed to. Because you don't know anything. Right now is a time for learning.
Right.
And
you can always take that word lose out and put learn.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So,
so I wasn't losing, I was learning.
That's what lose means to y'all.
That's what
it means learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like you only lose if you don't learn anything.
Yeah.
Ooh. So, you have to, your job as a trainer. So, all right. So you get your black belt, because I don't want to skip over, because then I want to get to you training people and helping them find their dynamite, and then we're going to get into some things that you're doing now. So now you go to a couple of matches. You train, you get your black belt. So now you got some matches. So tell me about fights that you fought in, the belts, because I see you won a couple of championships. So tell me about that.
Definitely, wow. Let's see, recently, I had, now counting the tournament I recently competed in, I have 58 medals, I have about 12 championship belts.
58 medals?
Yes, 58 medals over my competitive career. I have about 12 championship belts and a couple katanas too. Those things are dope. Like ceremony.
The katanas from Naga?
Yeah, from Naga. Those things are cool.
What is that? I don't know, what is that?
A katana, it's a sword.
So yeah, it's a sword.
Okay.
Oh yeah, samurai sword.
Wow.
Samurais, I love samurai so much. But just wrap it up. I think.
So what you got the katana as a result of?
As a reward of winning one of the tournaments, yes.
Wow.
Super cool.
You're amazing.
I try my best. That's it. I just try and put in effort each and every day, whether it's the best, whether it needs some work.
Dude, when you look at when you think about all the accomplishments, and you look at where are these medals? Where this stuff? Do you have this stuff at a certain place that you can look at?
I haven't hung up anything yet.
Don't tell me they're in a drawer. Don't tell me they're in multiple drawers.
They're not multiple drawers. They're all together in a case right now. I'm just trying to find the perfect setup for it. So I have them. I recently took a picture. I wore every single one that I ever earned. I'm like, wow, this is heavy.
Wow. And what does that feel like? I know how it feels. It might feel one at a time, but then to just put it all on and to look back over all of it, what is that like?
blessing and motivation to keep going because I'm 26 years young still, and I still got plenty of fight left. I'm like, wow, I did all that.
Yeah, you got your best years ahead too.
And then I'm ready. Not just for myself anymore, but as a teacher, I want to inspire others. Because before, I think that one thing that defined me when I was earlier on in age, I was afraid to share. I was like, I don't really want to talk about like what I've done. But my grandparents always just like, share it to the world. It's okay, share, because it affects other people. And it never really resonated with me early on, but now I realize how important that is. It's like, I'm just very humble.
What made you realize?
What I made me realize is just recently when I brushed off the medals, it's been a while since I broke all of them out. And I realized the response was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, you did all that? Like, that's inspiring. That makes me want to go out there and challenge myself. I want to do what you did, Coach Todd. That's amazing. I'm like, you know what? That's important because sometimes people have trouble finding their own fire. Mm-hmm. So my job is not only to educate, but to instill the fire in people to grow.
So do you see, when people come in, do you see the depression, the low self-esteem, the not believing in themselves? Do you see all of that, like when they first come in and then, so then you're like, they come to the class and you know they're coming to another class. So, because I know as someone who helps people, my life is helping people, you know, spiritually or financially or in business, whatever it is. And so when they come to me, when they leave me, they don't know that they're still on my mind because now I'm trying to figure out how can I get them from this point where they're at to the next point, to the next point, to the next point. They don't know that you're thinking about them like that. So do you find yourself, okay, how am I gonna unlock this key with this person?
Yes, for both the kids and adults. One person I'm thinking in mind, we have a lot of excellent stories with on our Team Long Island squad at the UFC gym for Jiu-Jitsu. One person, Julio, if you listen to this baby, Julio, Juju, aka Juju, awesome guy, love him very much. And this kind of similar start to Gerard, like one of our good friends, Peter, they're neighbors, him and Juju. Peter kind of brought him in, and Juju, he was a little quiet, didn't really talk as much, was heavier set. I believe he was easily like
320?
Like 320 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, he's a big, heavy set dude. And big curly fro going on, quiet. Oh man, this guy was like, yeah. And this guy, I observed this guy. He didn't come to my classes at first. He was generally going in the earlier evening classes. But fast forward, he came to one of my classes before. And not only the jiu-jitsu class, but one thing that really defined me and seeing him is he started coming to a fitness class that I teach. They call it DUT, aka Hell on the Turf.
Yeah, the duck.
The duck
classes. I've been in them.
I'm notorious.
I missed the duck classes.
Oh, come to my duck. That's it. Oh, I had a good one tonight. It was fire.
Oh, wow.
He started coming to that and started really challenging himself. And I really watched this man like, wow. He really found the light through fitness. He was seemed like he was in a dark place, and he really just rode with it. And if you see him now, you wouldn't even realize he was the same person. It's amazing.
When did he start? July, something like that?
Yeah, July of last year. From
July of last year to now, which is about what, 8 months?
He's about 200 and...
He's 230, 220.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
No lie.
Almost 100 pounds.
Yes.
And the light, the dynamite lights on. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Dynamite light and just the family that we have.
So when do you know? So as a teacher, when do you know the light is on? Like what can you tell? Like, okay, the light's on with them.
I know when the light is on, when I just kind of see this. I don't know, body language speaks volumes. When to see the genuine happiness of just being where they're at, interacting with others, really diving into their practice. This really says so much to me. When the first people come to us kind of reserved, because jiu-jitsu is a very intimidating thing.
Yeah.
It's extremely intimidating.
Yeah, that's why I haven't taken any of the class.
Hey, before everything's done, I'll invite you. Mats are always open.
Oh,
I'll be there tomorrow.
Because we have a very strong expression that we use in jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu saved my life. Jiu-Jitsu saves my life. And
That's powerful.
it's different for everybody. It could be because I was extremely heavy and unhealthy, and I found the light. It could be I felt like there was nothing for me, and I wasn't going to go further where I was at, but I found something that really gave me motivation to be myself. This comes in many different forms, and it's such a beautiful thing.
Wow. So this guy right here,
This guy.
you know, he is, you know, he's a miracle. I remember watching him come to your classes, and you know, he's a very important part of my life. But I also understood that there was something going on in there with you guys that was special, and I saw how it was helping him. How has Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu transformed you? And then we'll get into what things you got going now.
You know, I think that one of the things about jiu-jitsu is there's so many different things. Like one is, you know, the family. You know, there's like it's a real like down home human experience. You know, it's a authentic human experience.
Yeah.
You know, another saying, the mats don't lie.
Yes.
You know, so you find your truth. And, you know, your truth being humility, which is one of the things that's instilled being a jiu-jitsu practitioner. You know, I can't do all the crazy barambolos and all of that other stuff. I don't even try. I don't have to. I just have to stick to my game. I have to learn who I am. And in, you know, progressing, you know, from going from leather belt to white belt to first degree white belt to second degree white belt, you learn a little bit more about who you are. But on top of that, you have to accept that that's where you are.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu changes lives. And that's why on this show, I want to have people from all walks and forms of life, because information is power.
Yeah.
Information is knowledge. So when you can find out about something new, somebody might be watching this and go, well, maybe I'll take a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, right? And so not only are there stories of people losing weight and helping with the high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, all of the health benefits, it also helps people emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically.
Yes.
You know, and those are the three crazy keys is that, you know, it's part mental, it's part you know, mental, physical, and spiritual. You know, it's like all three are encompassed in the heart. And, you know, when you have a 415-pound guy laying on top of you, you're like, you know, job problems, relationship problems, financial problems, bills, you know, the marriage, none of that matters. None of that matters except surviving the next 5 minutes, knowing that you are probably not moving that 450-pound guy who has his sternum on top of your sternum, trying to get the life out of you. But, you know, like that might be a moment where somebody would say that like they lost. But let's flip it to the positive. I survived.
Right.
It's like I survived. Like, you know, I never said that I was going to beat you. I just said that you wouldn't beat me.
Yeah.
That's deep. So, what do you got going on now? What can we look forward to from you? And I want you to plug how people can get in contact with you, because I want people to be able to contact you for help in this area if they so choose it. What you got going on now? What's going on?
What's going on now? We have a competitive team that's been going strong for a while now.
Okay.
A lot of hungry young bloods coming up in the scene, doing tournament by tournament. Myself included, still active competitively. Keep a lookout for the next few tournaments I'll be attending. Also, what's on the plate? I'm looking for in June to do what I call a roll-a-thon.
Okay.
And basically what I do is want to get at least 2 or 3 charities. One of them I want to be St. Jude's.
Okay.
Because I'm a tremendous advocate for the kids.
Right.
Kids really hit home. They're probably been my toughest challenge as a teacher because they're so volatile.
Right.
They're so diverse and there's so much energy with them. It really challenged me to be at my best. And I want nothing but the best for them. And what better way than to, well, the roll-a-thon will have a whole bunch of different events, vendors going on there, but I want to just be on the mat with everyone and just bring a donation in, get on the mat, let's sweat, we train, we'll have food, we'll have water, and just train to the break of dawn for good causes.
Well, listen, let us know whatever conversations what Malik can do to whatever it is that we can donate. Please keep us posted.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. It's going to be this summer kickoff.
Yes, please keep us posted so that we can announce it, on the site. People can bring their children out to it. Let us know personally what we can do, whatever we can give towards the cause. Give me your social media links so people can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So on Instagram and Facebook is Skippy Dynamite. Like we've been saying all podcasts long, it just makes you feel so right. The website will be posted up soon. That's in the works. I'm super excited for it. Shout out to my student Rob, who's been helping me construct it.
Nice.
So by the time this podcast is up, hopefully he's been putting the finishing touches on it. You'll be able to link to my Instagram and Facebook through there. Also, my podcast, The Black Belt Beatdown. Yes. Just hitting the truths and just sharing a little bit of my journey and its continuation to help inspire others. Yeah, man, I'm just excited just to ready to tackle life. I'm in a very good place right now, and I'm just ready just to bring everybody with me. We're all growing.
Nice. Well, listen, you had it here, a.k.a. Skippy Dynamite, my man Todd, Gerard, Big G. He's a black belt in training in the making. He's going to be there one day, and I'm going to be there when he gets it. I love this brother. Yo, brother, thank you for the inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. Another nice episode of Conversations with Malik. Check us out on convoswithmalik.com. Peace.
Peace, guys.